Good day, everyone. Good morning and good evening to all of you who are attending across the world here for our first Maritime Insights webinar from the Ammonia Energy Association. My name is Sofia Fürstenberg Stott, and I share Maritime Directorship together with my partner Conor here for the AEA. I'm very happy today to have the ZEEDS collaboration present at my webinar here. ZEEDS stands for Zero Emission Distribution at Sea. And we have the head of sales of Wärtsilä, Cato Esperø, joining us. And we have the CEO of the Grieg Maritime Group and also, Chief Business Development Officer of Grieg Maritime Group and the CEO of North Ammonia, Mr. Vidar Lundberg. So they are joining us here today. Before I move forward, I need to inform you all that this meeting is being recorded and it will be made available on AEA's website. For those of you who may not be so familiar with the Ammonia Energy Association, I would like to tell you just briefly that this is a global non-profit industry association and is here to promote the responsible use of ammonia in a sustainable energy economy. So the mission of the AEA, it encompasses both the decarbonization of ammonia for existing applications, as well as the adoption of low carbon ammonia in new applications, of which maritime is one essential part of. And so it also involves the indirect use of a hydrogen carrier and carbon-free energy commodities. So the AEA was established back in 2004, and today the membership includes over 140 corporations around the world. And so we who hold the Maritime Directorship here, we are working to bring the maritime industry into that low carbon ammonia fuel opportunity, while we also help to empower the ammonia industry with an offering towards that maritime fuel sector. And so it very much revolves around that identification of mutual value. And so ZEEDS is a very good example of that catalytic effect that we can create when we identify such mutual value. And so this webinar is the first of hopefully many of Maritime Insights webinars. And so we are handpicking select initiatives from across the world which illustrate how solutions are being found and how progress is being made in this transition journey that we are on. And so we are dedicated to raise that level of understanding and connecting stakeholders. So I can already now tell you that our next webinar will take us to Singapore and to the Global Maritime Center of Decarbonization, who is going to go a little bit more technical and explore their bunker safety project, and that will take place in May. But so ZEEDS started as an idea. The way that initial founding members of two, which we have here today, they launched a series of conceptual ideas and they invited further participation across an ecosystem, a process that we think is very interesting for AEA members to understand better, and how these ideas have been further matured and turned into full-scale pilots and commercial projects. And so we hope to unpack those experiences further in this session today and understand how these types of value chain driven collaboration can be copied and trialed also elsewhere. So we are interested to hear about this journey today. And so without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker here, and that will be Cato Esperø, who is head of sales at Wärtsilä, and he will give us a brief introduction to the ammonia onshore supply chain project at Berlevåg. Cato, please. Yes, we will start with the video here, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly.
Julian, can you bring this video to us, please?
Listen, it's now or never. We need renewable energy to reduce emissions. As we don't have access to renewable energy everywhere, we need good energy carriers like hydrogen and ammonia so that everybody can get access to clean and reliable energy. With hydrogen and ammonia, we can achieve fantastic things. We can make shipping and other industries zero emission. We can even make sure that every society, even those without a proper power grid, can receive clean and reliable energy. At Aker Clean Hydrogen and Varanger Kraft, we are, among other things, trying to make the Arctic zero emission. In Berlevåg, we have access to energy from one of Europe's most efficient wind farms. Here, we are building one of the world's first factories for the production of green hydrogen and ammonia. To make hydrogen, you only need water and electrical power. By extracting nitrogen from the air and adding hydrogen, you get ammonia. The ammonia is cheap and easy to transport, and it can, for instance, be used as fuel for engines and in power plants instead of natural gas, diesel, and coal. The surplus of oxygen and heat from the factory can be used in local industry, everything from fish farming to vegetables. The ammonia from the factory is loaded onto tankers and then transported to the consumers. Our partners Grieg and Wärtsilä are aiming to build the world's first zero-emission tanker that even runs on green ammonia. The ship, named MS Green Ammonia, will transport the green ammonia to the consumers emission-free. Clean and reliable energy for everybody.
Thank you for that. Now, Cato, the floor is yours, and we will ask Julian to share your slides.
Thank you for that, and of course, thank you first for being invited to this event. I have to say that we have, you know, from the ZEEDS perspective, we have been following, of course, the Ammonia Energy Association closely, and what you have been doing, and also communicated and listened in through our journey. So you have been an important, you know, a stakeholder or a contributor to our work as well. But I will do my best in presenting a little bit on the Green Ammonia Factory, or GAB as we say, which is a joint venture between Aker Clean Hydrogen and Varanger Kraft. Aker, a well-known company, has been around for quite some time and been through different phases as the industry have developed, and then Varanger, which is a local power company producing electricity from water and from now also from wind. So they are found together and then created Green Ammonia Berlevåg. So if you move to the next slide, I think Raggoviddo, this is a fantastic place. I've been there and seen it. And Raggoviddo, actually, in Sami language, it's called Rakko Chero. That's the expression, and this actually means a rock desert. So this is if you imagine a vessel which you turn upside down. That's how the architecture of this area is, where this wind park has been created. And as you can see on this slide, this Raggo with Raggo 1, and you have Raggo 2. Raggo 1 is now in motion already, but they have possibilities to even grow this even further. It's an amazing place, unique wind capacities. It's something in between when we talk about the possibilities in offshore wind and onshore wind, something in between there. And it's this turbulence that is created also from the shape and the form. It's on 71 degrees north, so it's quite far north. So it's an amazing place for the Arctic, you know, energy production or clean energy production for the Arctic. one also fun fact, due to this nature, due to this special territory, you know, they told us when we were up there that we can build roads here, 1 kilometer of road in one day. So and it's just rocks, small rocks. So very efficient location actually to build. Not much life there, not much grass. So fantastic area for creating future renewable wind capacity. If we go to the next slide. And this is actually happening. I think that's the main thing. This has been put in motion. And here you see a hydrogen plant, compressed hydrogen plant, which they already have built, put in production. And it can today, as a pilot project, produce 1 ton compressed hydrogen a day. And I think that's the first step also for GAB and for Varanger Kraft in coming into this type of energy production. So that's already happening. If you go to the next one, this is the plant which has now been, which was shown also on the movie, has been planned, and I think already GAB, Aker and Varanger Kraft together have actually engineered it ready. And here you see the power side where the electricity is coming in from the wind plant. You see the electrolysis setup. You see also where the nitrogen comes in and are collected from the air, and how this is mixed then through the Harbour Bosch process, where you see the green star or the green dot, and then you have the tanks where you actually are able to move the energy to MS Green Ammonia. And here you also see the different phases. So they're now planning production of 100,000 ton in phase 1, and then of course you have phase 2 where they can grow this even better. And if they also are able to attract more capacity from the grid, it's also possible to actually increase even further. If we then move to the next slide. Of course, through this journey, we have learned a lot, and also, you know, Berlevåg, this location, it's a small fishing village from the history. 1,000 people approximately is living in the town of Berlevåg. So a setup like this it's a fantastic new type of industry for this kind of area, and you see from energy production, from, you know, the assets up on the mountain, not far away, can create new stuff, and that's what we are seeing. You know, the byproducts from the ammonia production, which is heat and oxygen, can be used to create new industries. So there's already established a fish farming company which are aiming for production of 20,000 tons of salmon a year, and they see that they can actually, with this kind of setup, also with the heat and the oxygen available, maybe even produce food up on 71 degrees north. So it's quite interesting to see, in addition, of course, to district heating to the town, that there's a lot of spin-off from this type of setup. Just a small fun fact, you know, 1 kilo of salmon, if you grow a kilo of salmon, you actually need 1 kilo also with oxygen. So, you know, there's interesting elements and future on this. And I think that was my last slide.
Cato, thank you. That was really interesting, and I have many ideas of questions to pose to you after we have now also heard from Vidar Lundberg, who is Chief Business Development Officer at Grieg Maritime Group, who we have invited to share some insights on the development of the tanker that is being built here, the MS Green Ammonia. Vidar.
Thank you, Sofia. Thanks for being part of this. Yeah, I would like to spend some time on explaining about our project, MS Green Ammonia. And first and foremost, I would like to mention, with regards to our participation in this project, it's from Grieg. If we go to the next slide. please. Let's say just one word about the launch of Grieg, because I would like to say that the ZEEDS consortium that was mentioned initially and Cato also referred to, I would say was one of the key facilitators for the establishment of Grieg. The knowledge we gained from participating in ZEEDS made us able to establish this strategy and launch Grieg as an innovation unit as part of the Grieg Maritime group. And in Grieg, we invest in ocean ventures and we create new innovative partnerships within the new energy space, being hydrogen and ammonia. And one of the projects that are key in Grieg today within the new energy area is the Green Ammonia project, which is also then basically a spin-off from the ZEEDS project. So if you go to the next slide, we can explain a bit more and add some to what Cato already described with regards to the green value chain that we are developing here within green ammonia distribution. And with the nice video and pictures from the wind park in Ragovida, we do see that that part of the value chain to the left in this slide, and then we see the market basically to the right. And our role in this project is the distribution side. So basically making sure that this green ammonia can reach the applicable market, and that being customers both nearby the production facility and further away. And we see that there's a strategic fit here in coupling the shoreside production with the market demand in the maritime sector primarily, but also off-grid societies that were mentioned. And in particular, that means the offshore supply market, which is relevant to the northern Norwegian area, where there's a lot of activity offshore. And we do see also with regards to that area, activity within the fishing market, which is relevant players here, and so forth with regards to the ferries and short sea market in general. We do provide the ammonia to customers or maritime users that we believe will be front runners demanding green fuels. So we see a good fit in that. And basically what we are working with here together with with support from the Norwegian state, with state funding, is to develop this distribution concept, this vessel concept. So with the Pilot E funding scheme in Norway, we are then developing the design for this vessel together with partners as we speak, with the technical parameters and the propulsion systems together with Wärtsilä, and rules and regulation for operating the vessel, etc. So with good support from partners, we are now working on several work streams to make sure that we can have this vessel fully designed and that we can be able to take it further and start building, basically. And in order to reach that decision, we need to work the commercial side, the commercial aspects further. So I believe that we have had quite good progress actually together with Wärtsilä and the others on defining this vessel concept already. And as we see it now, we're pushing sort of the commercial side with regards to the actual market demand, because this is new fuel. It's new to everyone, new to the end users and the customers as well. And what will be the framework for these customers when buying this fuel in the future? I mean, we are talking about fuels that will be in the market in 2025, 2026. So it's still sort of several years ahead. And we need to make sure that we can be able to enter into these bilateral agreements to provide the fuels, from the fuel supply to the distribution to the end users. So to have that framework in place is important now to ensure that we have sort of the progress we're looking for over the next 12 months to be able to reach the the FIDs, the final investment decisions, to move forward with regards to the production facility, which Cato mentioned, and with regards to the vessel. So if we move forwards, what we're then looking to establish here as partners from the Grieg side, together with Green Ammonia Berlevåg, is to establish a one-stop shop, basically, for end users in that region. I mean, we are focusing on the Arctic area, the northern Norwegian area initially, and the off-grid societies and islands in that area, but we haven't narrowed down that market too much either. So I mean, here we will focus on, let's say, the Norwegian Sea and the Barents Sea, and the possibilities outside of those regions as well. In the North Sea, we do have good capacity and capability here to distribute further away as well. So we will put everything and all that into an operational pattern that we do see fit with the supply we will get in this facility in Berlevåg. And through this vessel, we will ensure that we can distribute both to terminals across or along the sea, and to some hubs, but also ship-to-ship bunkering, as was shown in the video. And basically, with several vessels trading alongside the coast or to these off-grid islands, we can provide and make sure that they have a reliable energy source being provided regularly, with them, that they can operate with the flexibility that they need, which is key to them. So putting this vessel into a trade, into a distribution pattern is the next step as part of our project. And we believe that together with the Aker system and Varanger Kraft energy supplier, we can be strong partners in delivering this one-stop shop to the market, and make sure that those buying the volumes, whether it's a terminal operator, fuel terminal operator, or a ship owner or a ship operator, we can make sure that we can have a reliable and safe and sound solution, which is easy for them to get the volumes they need. If we move forward, so yeah, we did bring some more details to the project timeline that we're working on, and for those interested, we are in a phase now where we are detailing the feasibility and the concept design of the vessel in particular, and we're well into that phase. So basically now what we're looking for is an approval in principle from the class society, which means that we are working on the right track, that we are on the right track, and that we're working with the right concept. And we're quite positive in getting good progress now throughout that process together with Wärtsilä. And we will then refine the concept and get into this basic design phase, where we in parallel will work with the yards to see where we can actually build, get this vessel and a series of these vessels built, and enter into thereafter through next year a yard contract. Meaning that with the shipbuilding period associated, we will be able to have this vessel then operating 2025, 2026, which we also see as a relevant time period where we see new builds coming in. So, I mean, there would be a risk associated with being operational in 2024. It wouldn't be that many clients, basically. You would have some, I believe, already then, but a lot more in 25, 26, especially when we do see vessels coming in with new propulsion technology and with the new engines that can run on this fuel, together with retrofits as well, that we should mention. So we see it as a good timing for launching the value chain, basically, time-wise. And if we move forward to the next slide, so that I try to keep within the time frame I got, We do see basically, and I think we'll get back to this, but we do see that with especially the regulatory framework having a huge effect on shipping, and with the carbon reduction plans that most ship owners now launch and have already, we do see a drive now that we haven't seen before towards zero emission shipping, and we see that driver has been fundamental in the way we work, and that we need to collaborate to make sure that the infrastructure gets in place, and that collaboration will spark market demand and also accelerate sort of the technical solutions that we believe are available. So I think that's sort of the short version of it, the last slide, and hopefully I didn't destroy your time schedule fully, Sofia. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Vidar. You absolutely didn't destroy any time schedule here. Perfect. A lot of very interesting inputs there to think about. I would like to take us a little bit back to where we all started. I would like to hear from you both, as you were both part of the very beginning of the ZEEDS consortium. I would like to hear from you, what was the spark that initiated this idea? I attended myself one of the launches of the ZEEDS project summer of 2019, and I was fascinated by this storytelling approach. You came with some visionary ideas, and you had an initial consortium of ambitious members. But how did that come about? And yes, and how? What was the spark that created this?
Maybe I can say a little bit on that. I think the spark, the real spark, happened on April 26, 2018. That the same day, the Norwegian Parliament actually took a decision. All together, all the different parties together, they decided that quite a bold decision, that by 2026 the World Heritage Fjords of Norway should be fossil free. So it's quite funky, because at the same day we in Wärtsilä also had a conference, and we had the people from the parliament joining the conference, and this was a conference where we actually invited in various stakeholders, students, NGOs, politicians, harbours, energy companies across, because we saw we need to, in a way, to decarbonize, we need to think differently. But you know, being there in a conference where you know that you're going to move into workshop activity, and the parliament actually decides that we're going to have fossil-free fjords, that creates something. So people were at the conference, they went into workshops, and this became a big topic, and ideas just started to flow. And I think that was the spark, and we saw that here is something. This is really exciting, and it's all gathered together, and from there we started to find out okay, how to take this further. And that's when we came together with this group of companies. Also a funky story around, because we are all Scandinavian companies, we are all big companies in a way, in our own businesses. And we went on this pursuit, we went on this common approach, where we together agreed that we have a task, we can actually do a task together, and the task was to find the fastest route to zero emission in shipping. That was our common purpose across these companies. So, you know, just continued, and we managed to sit down together, and we managed to agree on this, and we managed to agree also on a framework together. You know, like Vidar already mentioned, you know, that Grieg Edge it's an outcome out of this, and we have seen also several other companies that we should find find the fastest route. We didn't know how to do it at that point, but find the fastest route to zero emission shipping. And we also wanted to look for new business opportunities. How can we develop our companies? And not at least, most important is, can we learn something together by working together actually that can make us more efficient in R&D? Can we aim more directly on where should we put our effort? So, long story, but that's how we was motivated in a way.
Thank you. Vidar, do you have any comments to that?
No, I just want to maybe add to what Cato said, that I would like to basically give them credit for Wärtsilä for being fundamental in establishing ZEEDS and ensuring that we got this collaboration. It's a very strong collaboration, I would say, with complementary competence, and getting in companies that we were able to build this trust and culture for sharing. I would say basically based on respect for each other. That these are leading companies with strong competence and reliable, and this respect we had for each other was fundamental in establishing that environment for sharing. And then by sharing, bringing us further.
How important has this very visual external storytelling been to progress this consortium, and maybe also to attract additional partners like Varanger Kraft who joined later here? How important has this been? Because already from the start, you've had these conceptual ideas. We've seen MS Green Ammonia on fancy pictures for a long time. And so how important has that been? And what are your learnings in that kind of approach?
If I can start, you know, after we launched ZEEDS, and I have to be honest with you, we were quite afraid when we launched this. What would be the response? And because we had been in our bubble, and we had been through all the different scenarios, counted ships, looked at trading routes, looked at, you know, what can be the zero fuel. And we were not chemists anyways, but we looked at it but we learned. We talked to a lot of people, and what is possible. Then we presented it at Nor-Shipping, quite a wide audience, and it got attention, and it just continued. But what also happened is that the government, also the Norwegian government, was there, and they listened, and they asked us, can you do something with ZEEDS in relation to Svalbard, where we are producing energy from coal? So they connected us together. So they connected Grieg, they connected ZEEDS, they connected Wärtsilä together with Varanger Kraft, and said that you guys should work together. Can you find a solution for Svalbard? So, you know, by being bold and by being out there and launching something, it has given us insights. It has given us new insights, and it has also given us perspective from many directions. And these perspectives have also, in a way, we have learned a lot from it, both pros and cons in a way, and found out what is really people thinking around this. So, you know, being bold and going out there has given, I would say, a tremendous insight to us for our work. Yeah.
When we spoke with Christian Bue of Varanger Kraft, who were supposed to talk here today, he mentioned that they had a problem that the ZEEDS consortium could solve for them, because the Berlevåg project didn't make sense to connect to the grid. So they were, what is it called, isolated in that regard. So turning that power into hydrogen would be the best solution for them. And there the ZEEDS consortium could find a way to create mutual value and sharing of risk.
Yeah, and if I can add to what was said, I think for us, working with developing a green value chain in the very north of Norway was somewhat far away from our business in general, being a traditional ship owner, owning and operating deep sea vessels. So, I mean, how did we end up there? How did we get there? And I think these, as Cato said, these new relations and the insight we got made us comfortable in working and discussing green infrastructure and new solutions and new value chains in a way that we hadn't or wouldn't have been comfortable without ZEEDS and without the work we did together and without the process. So it brought us into a new landscape, a new area of opportunities, and we see sort of our role as really, aligned with our ambition of restoring the ocean. We see at the same time an ocean of opportunities. So I mean, this brings us and a lot of business opportunities that Cato mentioned, basically, and it's very aligned with our ambition as well to take a leading role in that green transition that we are now having in the maritime sector. So yeah.
The MS Green Ammonia fits very well into Norway's overall green hydrogen or hydrogen strategy. How important has it been for you to get these public funding for, you mentioned the Pilot D program, for instance? How critical has that been to progress these ambitions?
I would say it has been critical. I mean, in a way, you could say that, I mean, it was about 5 million euros that we received in funding to work the project, the concept. And you might say that that is, in some way, you might say it's small money for a larger ship owner. But I would say that it gave us the flexibility and opportunity to dedicate resources, which is key. So I would say it actually was fundamental in giving that leeway within sort of the daily operations of a company to actually have people working on something which is both a long way forward and not core business, but new business. And I think that has been key. So I would like to sort of give the credit to these funding schemes that we have in place to work new concepts, which is this, because basically what we get funding to is hours. I mean, the hours we spend. And then we can recruit new people, new talent, get new talent on board that in a way that we wouldn't have probably if we didn't have this funding, and that brings along a lot of spin-off effects as well, to get new people in with new competence and to work now. In a way, we have an ammonia team as an example. People working with ammonia pilots, with ammonia solutions, with infrastructure, with distribution, which is very new to us if you look back sort of 3-4 years. So, so that has been very appreciated and very central to us. And I believe Cato, which is also part of that scheme, can.
Yeah, I can only totally agree with Vidar, what he's saying. You know, you need there's a lot of things that cost money in a way, so it's totally essential. And it's also, we view it a little bit, when the government provide this kind of funding, they're also a customer. So in a way, they are saying that this is something that we want, and this is a direction. And like you are saying, Sofia, it's linked to the Norwegian strategy, and we see there's a pattern here. So it's also a collaboration. So they are taking a part of this responsibility to build this new future in a way. We have to be a part of it.
Yeah, I have one more question before I will let in questions from the floor. When you presented these two projects here now, you talk about how the kind of the residual heat from the power plant up there can be used for fish farming and agriculture. And so we immediately think like, okay, so are we going to have a ship transporting that fish to the market, or will it create additional service opportunities up there that can also be utilizing the green ammonia as fuel. And then another question to that, when we see the futuristic design of this MS Green Ammonia, is there going to be some flexibility in that design for it to take also other cargo for other, for instance, container or bulk or whatever in the future? Do you look at it from that kind of spin-off perspective at all?
Yeah, I can maybe start on the last question. I mean, with regards to the vessel, we are exploring possibilities with regards to flexibility. I mean, working fully the container and bulk market together with ammonia distribution is probably somewhat challenging, and we don't want to end up with the sort of a multi-purpose, multi-useless vessel. So I think we need to sort of most likely focus on the main target, which is to distribute the ammonia. But if we can get some flexibility at least, that is what we're exploring and how we're doing that. And it also might be that we'll end up with having some larger vessels, some smaller vessels, to make sure it fits with feeding also the main vessels. So here we are looking at several solutions actually, and so it's a very relevant question. And I will also say and add to what you were asking about the synergies, that we do see these industrial synergies as add-on synergies primarily. And if you were to if you get this fit with the seafood sector, with aquaculture, which is I mean, at least to us in Grieg, having a seafood business is relevant. We would look at that as a nice add-on spin-off effect, but not necessarily use the same vessel for distributing to fish to the market. But there are very strong synergies.
Thank you. Okay, then let's see what the audience have asked you today. And to all of you listening, you preferably place your question in the Q&A and not in the chat, because then I will typically get lost here. So starting here, can you share any information of what type of charter arrangements you see for these vessels going forward? Would it be long-term contracts of affreightment, or giving the expected regional multiplication of ammonia usage for energy carriage, will there be a spot market early on?
Yeah, I do think that the combination of having contracts of affreightment and a spot market might work well, might be good, but you need some of the fixed contracts as a fundament to launch the vessel, basically. We wouldn't do that fully based on a spot market, I would say. So yeah, you would need some contract coverage, but we wouldn't most likely go for a charter fully. Because then it would be others operating the vessel, which might not be the strategy we have, at least at the moment, for that activity.
Yeah, thank you. We have a question here. Well, somebody's asking, does the MS Green Ammonia use ammonia as fuel to run the vessel? Yes.
Yeah, that's a relevant question. And yeah, I mean, the thought here is to have a green value chain and that the vessel will be zero emission. So that's also a nice fit here, is that we're looking at both the concept of distributing ammonia, which is clear and very doable, based on conventional technology, just put together. And then basically it's the propulsion side. We're working with Wärtsilä with the new engines that we can actually also run on ammonia, green ammonia, that is, to be fully zero emission. Yeah.
Yes. Trevor Brown, our executive director of the AEA, has a question here. For ships operating in the Arctic, what are the special considerations for ammonia? Soot reduction is obviously... Oh, the question disappeared. My goodness, where is it? I'm very sorry now. Where did it go? There. For ships operating in the Arctic, what are the special considerations for ammonia? Soot reduction is obviously a benefit, but toxicity in a fragile ecosystem is critical to manage. What about noise? Does ammonia have a potential long-term promise? in supporting the transition from internal combustion engines to fuel cells?
Yeah, that was a long question also, but so I would like to maybe let Wärtsilä elaborate on the engine side and emission side, but and noise, last but not least. But I think for us, the toxic fuel issue has been the most relevant questions we've had during this time period, and at least what we see and hear, based on people we talk to in class societies and the relevant competence people around we use in this process of the design, we are quite optimistic with regards to using ammonia as a fuel. And when we listen to the engine makers, Cato and his colleagues, we get even more optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Fancy question, but I can. If I say a little bit how we are thinking right now,
Yeah.
we are in a phase where there's a lot of research, there's a lot of testing, there's a lot of things still not known. Yes, we have tested and we have burned and used ammonia as a fuel that we did last summer. So we know that the result from an total emission perspective is quite positive. Then you go, when you're looking at the future now for the future, you know, the energy that you don't use is of course the cheapest energy from several areas. So that could mean that we learn new things as we test. It could be that we learn new things on what kind of loads are we using on the engines, how are we combining it with other type of technologies, how will this fit be, how are we using batteries for certain areas of the oceans, depending on where the vessel is trafficking, you know, what kind of requirements do you have there. So we are in this phase now where we, you know, through our lab testing and also we are now just we're also setting up a test facility here in Norway where we will do endurance testing, where we actually have a lab with all these facilities. We have the full electrical system, we have the battery banks, we have what we actually need to test out these things. So we are in this process now to reduce everything as much as possible. And of course, loads, noise, new thinking is a part of that picture. But there's a lot of unknowns still. But that's I think that's the exciting thing on it. When it comes to the combustion engine, you know, it's I think it's fair to say it's a well-known type of technology. It's all over the world. It's just going to be around for a long time. It's an efficient way to produce energy. So of course that is and there's an industrial capacity on producing these things, and that's something that we of course are keeping in mind. Improving, preparing, think new, look at the whole thing. That's the excitement that we are into right now. I don't know if that answered the question, but there's a lot of things we cannot answer because we don't know yet.
Of course.
Yeah.
There was another engine-related question here regarding how you will handle the NOx emissions coming from ammonia combustion, and I assume that is also something that will be trialed and solved at this catapult center that Wärtsilä.
Yes. No, you know, we assumed, because NOx is something that comes from the nitrogen part, the air that you're using in the combustion side, and it's also very much linked to the temperatures. So we expected in a way that it would be more or less the same as for diesel combustion, but the good thing here is that actually it was quite it was 50% less. So we see that we are using actually the ammonia is like a cleaning mechanism, and that's we see that it's reduced, but the NOx, there could be an issue on NOx, but that we have technology to deal with already today. So in a way, it's we see it's less, but from a technical point of view, we believe this is something that we can deal with.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a question here that I think that both of you might be challenged to answer, but it's nevertheless a question that has become, that has popped up due to the crisis we have in Ukraine right now, and that is what's going to happen to ammonia as fertilizer, and if there is going to be a different kind of competition of resources going forward, and where we might have to ask ourselves where the green ammonia has its best use from a kind of a holistic perspective. Have you had any considerations regarding this?
Well, at least from our side, we have had a worry, of course, related to the increasing energy prices. The cost of electricity, which is key to ammonia, has been an issue. And we've also seen that the forward prices, the longer term prices, have increased quite a lot over the last year, which affects, of course, our long-term business case as well, with the assumptions we make. But however, what we do see still is that the cost of green renewable energy, which we have in Norway at least, is lower than what we see in other countries in Europe. So the competitive edge has never been higher, actually. So we do see that we are in a favorable position with regards to producing green ammonia in Norway, as we have these wind resources described here, but also hydropower, which is key to the Norwegian energy market, and which is optimal fit, I would say, with producing ammonia regularly. And then with regards to the market, we do see that ammonia is, as long as you have available renewable energy, we do have some here, you can make at least quite some volumes, which are suitable in the shipping sector, in the maritime space. Whether all that will be required at the end of the day by the fertilizer industry or not, I mean, remains to be seen. Basically, it's a question about price. But the value chain are developed for distribution at sea, which is favorable logistic-wise, cost-efficient, transport-wise. So there are several opportunities, of course, at the end of the day, who will be the main end buyers or end users of green ammonia. But we believe that it's a relevant fuel for shipping.
Yeah. Thank you for that answer there. I would like to go back to some of the questions I have shared with you earlier. Have you received any particular good or bad response from the public? For instance, up there in the Berlevåg community, where a lot of activities has been going on, what are the questions that you receive, and have you had any? Has it been challenging in any way?
You know, I think this thing with toxicity in ammonia is of course something that comes back in a way. But when I think back and look at what we have presented and the logic in it, we have never been arrested on the logic in it, in a way. And what I also notice is that the more people that actually start using the same calculator that we have used, start to see the same thing. So it's expanding the same ideas. We see it's happening in several places in the world. They see the logic in it, because in the end of the day, I think, you know, also with the crisis, in the end of the day, everybody wants to be part of the future and wants to be part of solving the challenges that we have. So I think people really feel that. If you're a ship owner, if you're just buying goods in a way from the supermarket, I think generally people want it to be as clean as possible. So that's, I think, of course, you get these typical question on prices and will this really happen this fast? I think at least I'm fascinated with the speed of this, how fast it's really moving. And so, like Vidar said earlier, you know, is this a requirement or is this an opportunity? I think it will be both be a requirement, and it's a fantastic opportunity. But I think it's more and more to people moving into the opportunity area that this is actually, you know, you are doing something good, and you're actually able to make your future in it. So it's an enormous potential. And just imagine, like shipping, you know, I think global shipping fleet are using about 1 million tons of diesel a day. You know, moving this over to ammonia, you need 2.3 million ton diesel or ammonia a day. And of course, that is something that you cannot just produce one place, and you have all the different spin-offs. I think the more people see this, you know, in the energy independence, all these type of discussions, there are opportunities for everybody in this.
Yeah, and I think people want to be part of the solution. So I feel that we are sort of welcomed by most stakeholders with regards to the projects we work on. And people find it fascinating and welcome it, and want to see how we make it, how we realize it, basically.
Yeah. We have a few short minutes before we will end our webinar today. So I will give both of you the opportunity to very quickly now give the audience here, those in the audience who are interested to try and follow what you are doing it somewhere else in the world, what would be your best pieces of advice really quickly here?
Well, if I can start, I think you have to be open for the new opportunity. That has to be your thing. But we have to also think that, you know, we are, most of the world, we are used to at least to very recently, we are used to having availability on energy everywhere. You know, looking at the fossil industry has been developed the last 100 years, maybe. So that type of energy and fuel is available. So we are not thinking, will we get hold of this? You know, the gasoline stations, all this stuff that's there, it's been created. We are now going to create something new. But then during the transition, I think we have to go into a process where we think beyond what we are used to, because energy is always available today. Now we actually have to look at the ecosystem. And I think that's something that's important for both if you're a ship owner or if you are planning to be a producer or a distributor. You have to work differently. And I think that accepting that, I think that's I think that's the biggest insight we have had from the journey in ZEEDS, that you actually have to look at this and gain knowledge on this and collaborate. You know, think about what's been created the last 100 years and what we have now actually are just making more and more efficient. We are now starting in a different way where we have new tools, digital tools, etc. You just have to think new on how to take this further. And here is collaboration and openness, daring to share your insights. You know, we have one good member in the ZEEDS groups. He's using the statement: the one who shares the most is the one that will gain the most. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that.
Vidar,
I'll be very short then, since Cato was very long.
Sorry.
I'll say, be as you say, be open, invite in external competence, work with people that provides complementary competence, and make sure that you can have a collaboration on competence, because you need that. And then you need to be curious with what the new value chains that are now established will offer of opportunities, because this is business opportunities. So have that, you know, work on that. What will the business opportunities be? What will be my role in that new value chain that is coming? Because that will be the key.
Thank you. Cato and Vidar, thank you so much for joining us today at this first Maritime Insights webinar. It's been great to hear your stories, and I hope that the audience have got a lot to think about. And it's 12 o'clock over here in Sweden where I sit, so that was it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, and please join us for the next one that will be announced soon and will be taking place in the end of May. Vidar and Cato, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.